Hi guys, welcome back to George Reads once again, where today we are reading Chapter 9 of I'm Telling You They're Aliens. Last time in Chapter 8, Rob and Marsha came up with a new plan. The aliens only turn into their true forms at night time when it's dark, so why don't they make it dark early on in the day, and they wouldn't have to wait till night time. So they're going to kidnap Norman, put him in the dark place, wait for him to turn into an alien, and then show him to everyone, and then prove that there really are aliens on planet Earth. This is the chapter on from that. If you haven't seen any of my videos lately, then I recommend you go check them out. They're awesome. And yeah, just leave a like and subscribe. That'll be greatly appreciated. It helps the channel loads as it is progressing. And so this is Chapter 9 of I'm Telling You They're Aliens. Chapter 9, Early Darkness. Right, said Marsha as we hurried back to my house. How exactly are you going to kidnap Norman? Chloroform, I said at once. It's a chemical. You sprinkle it on a hanky and hold it over the person's nose, and it makes him go unconscious. And you've got some, have you? Of course not. You can't just go out and buy like sweets or something. Why mention it then? Because if we did have it, it would be ideal. Let's stick to the real world, shall we? Growled Marsha. What we need to do is get hold of Norman somewhere safe until it gets dark. That was when I got my second brilliant idea. We can make the dark come early, I said. What's that supposed to mean? Norman turns into an alien when it gets dark, right? Why should we wait until it's night time? Suppose we make it early, put him in a dark place. Then he'd turn into an alien straight away. Marsha stopped and stared at me. That's very good, Rob. Why don't you like this in school? That's 2 excellent ideas you've had in 10 minutes. A world record, I shouldn't wonder. Marsha beamed at me. We should get a cardboard box and just pop it over Norman's head. He's bound to struggle, I pointed out, and had this vision of Norman's fists flying about like manic sledgehammers. I didn't want to lose all my teeth. All right, we use a blanket instead, and then we pin down his arms at the same time. I wasn't so sure about this. Norman might have been a bit thin and weedy, but he was still bigger and older than us. He wasn't likely to let us put a blanket over his head without fighting back. Automatically, I covered my teeth with one hand. Suppose he hits us? We are trying to prevent space monsters taking over the Earth, Rob. Somewhere along the line, we might get injured. It's a risk we have to take. My stomach was churning up. I couldn't believe that Marsh could be so brave about the idea of being hurt. I mean, we were talking about teeth here, noses, real blood, maybe even death. On the other hand, I couldn't bear to tell her that my stomach had turned into scarified jelly, not when she was being all calm and heroic about it. We got to my house and found an old blanket. Our plan of action was simple. We would hide behind the hedge at the front of our house and wait till Norman walked past. Then we'd jump on him with the blanket. Simple ideas are always the best. The hedge was tall, and we flattened ourselves against its stiff branches, trying to make ourselves invisible. It was a pity it was a hawthorn hedge. Ow! Shut up, hissed Marsha. I've got a form in my bun. I snapped back, and she sniggered. You always were a bit of a pain. Thank you for your kind sympathy. You could get tetanus from this. It says so in your medical encyclopedia, Marshall finished wearily. And gangrene, I added. Your skin puffs up and goes purple and black and green, and it starts festering and eventually it just drops off. Rob, you've only been pricked by a little thorn. Your bum is not going to fall off. Says you. You'll be sorry if it does. Not as sorry as you. You'll be bottomless. Marsha found this so amusing and began giggling again. You'll have to carry a bum bag with you, just in case, and a little shovel. Then, when it happens, you can scoop it off the floor, bag it up, and take it home. Maybe your mum can sew it back on or something. By this time, Marsha was in stitches. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I grunted, rubbing my backside. It hurt. Shh, hissed Marsha. He's coming out. He's crossed the road. My heart immediately began banging about like a hyperactive drum kit. My fingers were gripping the blanket so hard my knuckles had gone white. Time seemed to stand still. The distant footsteps came closer and closer and then stopped. What's he doing? I panicked. Shh, just wait a sec. It's okay, he's coming. Norman's footsteps drew closer and closer. Then, through the tangle of twigs and leaves of the hedge, we could see its shape as it began to pass by. "Now!" cried Marcia. We leaped up and plunged out from behind the hedge, folding the stretched blanket in front of us. It worked like a dream. In a trice, we had a blanket over him, and all three of us fell to the pavement, where we rolled about, pinning Norman's arms to his sides. He was snarling dreadfully under the blanket, and thrashing his head from side to side. Marcia clung onto it as if it were a rogue rugby ball. She shouted at me, "Is he changing yet? Is he beginning to change?" That was when the dream turned into a nightmare. I glanced at Norman's legs, and even though they were waggling about wildly in midair, I could see at once that his legs had definitely changed. Norman the alien was wearing ladies' shoes, black tights, and, well, I daren't mention anything else. It wasn't my fault. You do see quite a lot when someone wears their legs about as much as that. "He's a woman!" I shouted at Marcia, who was still attempting touchdown with Norman's head. Marcia took one look and yelled, "We've got the wrong person! Run for it!" We took off like rabbits and didn't stop running until we reached the park. We threw ourselves panting onto the grass. At last we got our breath back. "How did that happen?" I asked. "I don't know. Norman must have stopped and gone somewhere else. And then some other person came along. Do you think she saw us? Who was it anyway?" "I haven't a clue. I only saw her legs and I went pink. Not much else. Do you think it's safe to go back?" We walked back to find a knot of chattering people gathered near our house and a police car. We watched and waited, but nobody went up my front path, so we guessed that nobody knew it had been us. We decided it was safe to get a bit closer. "Someone tried to mug me," said a loud voice, "but I fought them off." We peered through the crowd, and there was Mrs. Parso, our next-door neighbour but one, looking rather flustered with all her hair messed up. "I wonder how that happened." "I gave him a black eye," Mrs. Parslow declared. Marcia and I looked at each other and shook our heads in disbelief. The lying toad. Anyhow, we decided the blanket was not such a good idea after all. Besides, Marcia had already come up with a much better plan. Apparently there was a cellar in her house which was only used for storing junk. Marcia said it was very dark down there. We sat up in my bedroom and discussed Plan 2. If we can lure Norman over to my house and get him in the cellar, that will be it. He'll be trapped. The only way out is through the door, and we can lock that. We wait for him to alter it into his true form and then call the police. "It's a pity you didn't think of this before we tried the blanket," I pointed out. A big smile took over Marcia's face, and they gave me that throaty chuckle. "Yeah," she said, "that was really funny." I have to admit, it is something I shall never forget. Mrs. Parslow's waggling legs were a pretty memorable sight. However, it was not going to save the world, so it was back to business. "When do we try Plan 2? I asked. "Tomorrow afternoon. Mum's going out. She's got a boyfriend. His name's Tony." This came as a bit of a shock, I can tell you. How can Marcia be so calm about it? "Don't you mind?" "Why should I?" "I'd be really upset if my mum went out with a new boyfriend. Your mum and dad haven't split up, though, have they?" "Not yet," I said darkly. "Don't start that again, Rob. Look, my mum's not going to sit down on her own for the rest of her life. Anyhow, it's none of your business." I shut up. Marcia was quiet for a few moments, and then she went on. "It could be a bit risky at my house. Mum might come back, but I can't think of anyone else." Just then my own mum came back and called up the stairs. "Are you in, Rob?" "Upstairs. Marcia's here." "Oh." It's such a small word, "oh." You wouldn't think it could be said with such meaning. The way my mum said "oh" actually meant, well, I'm never upstairs with a girl, ho ho ho. I ignored it. Marcia and I agreed that we would meet at her place the following afternoon and then put Plan 2 into action. "Hello, Marcia," said Mum cheerfully as I saw Marcia to the door. "You two seem to be very good friends these days." Now Mum's face had a ho 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 smile on it. Marcia nodded seriously. "Yes, we thought we'd get married tomorrow. See, Rob?" You should have seen Mum's face. She was left speechless. Her jaw had almost fallen off. I had to hand it to Marcia. Talk about sharp. I kept spilling my food at lunch, I was laughing so much. "It wasn't that funny, Rob," Mum said crossly. But it was. And that's the end of chapter 9. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. It helps the channel loads. And if this happens to be the first video you see by me, please do continue watching my videos. They're great. They won't disappoint, I promise. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.